Hello, folks. This story was sent to me by a subscriber and is intended for educational purposes only. Thank you for watching. 5. Mayo DMT 45 mg. The elevator to the Cosmic Donut Shop. I always thought of myself as a casual explorer of consciousness, dipping my toes gently into the waters of psychedelic. But that afternoon, with 45 mg of 5-MeO DMT under my belt, the universe decided to pull me in for a full-on cosmic plunge that I was wildly unprepared for. It started innocuously enough. I was in my apartment, the sun casting long lazy stripes across the floor, feeling curious and maybe a little too adventurous. I had heard whispers that 5-MeO DMT was like boarding an elevator straight to the big unknown, but I was still hoping for a chill ride. Spoiler alert. It was anything but chill. Within seconds of the vapor hitting my lungs, the walls around me began to breathe, except instead of the usual breathing walls I'd read about in trippy stories. These walls looked like they were inhaling deep, giant puffs of cosmic bubblegum. The color wasn't just shifting. It was popping like fluorescent jelly beans exploding into slow-motion fireworks. My body felt like a marionette. And then suddenly I was detached, floating just above myself, watching the bizarre spectacle unfold from this weirdly comfy third-person perspective. Suddenly a shimmering elevator appeared right in the middle of my living room, looking like a blend of a 1950s diner jukebox and a space-age vending machine. The doors slid open with a smooth whoosh that sounded suspiciously like a happy sigh. Without hesitation or even a hint of fear, I floated right in. The inside was lined with mirrors that didn't reflect my image, but rather infinite versions of me. Some wearing disco suits, others clad in medieval armor, a few dressed as giant anthropomorphic donuts. Yes, donuts. I was already deep in the weird, and donuts had somehow become the intergalactic mascot of my trip. The elevator began its ascent, and with every floor it climbed, reality peeled away a little more. I was now hurtling through corridors made of jelly, passing rooms filled with living paintings that winked and whispered secrets, in a language that sounded suspiciously like jazz music. A glowing sign flickered above one doorway. Cosmic Donut Shop. Next stop, Doc Darling. I smiled, because of course, of all places to go, a cosmic donut shop seemed exactly right. The elevator dinged, and the door slid open to reveal the shop, which defied every earthly bakery convention. The counter was staffed by a trio of sentient, talking donuts, each with a distinct personality. The first was a sprightly chocolate-glazed donut who was clearly the boss, cracking puns faster than I could process. The second was a powdered sugar donut with a sassy attitude and a knack for existential questions. The third was a jelly-filled donut who seemed contemplative, offering me a taste of a mysterious flavor called eternity, which promptly made my taste buds sing in cosmic harmony. As I sampled the eternity donut, my surroundings morphed into a kaleidoscope of shifting shapes and colors. The ceiling melted into a pool of liquid starlight, and the floor beneath me was suddenly a trampoline made of marshmallows that bounced me gently upwards and downwards in a rhythm that synced perfectly with the cosmic jazz playing overhead. The chocolate donut leaned close and whispered, "Life's a whole, but sometimes it's the filling that counts." I chuckled and nodded, feeling like I was in a confessional booth with some of the universe's quirkiest philosophers. The powdered sugar donut rolled its eyes and said, "Careful, That one's deep. Might stick to the sprinkles next time. Meanwhile, the jelly donut simply smiled and vanished into a puff of glittery sugar dust. Then, a wild idea struck me. I asked if I could take the elevator back down. The chocolate donut winked and pressed a big red button on the counter labeled Return to Earth. The elevator reappeared with a welcoming whoosh, and I stepped inside. But instead of descending, it started spinning like a carnival ride, blurring floors into a psychedelic tornado. Suddenly, I was not just in my apartment anymore. I was zooming through a cosmic highway with neon signs flashing slogans like existence, reality bites, try the glazed. The elevator was now a spaceship cruising through dimensions that felt like a cross between a Salvador Dali painting and a Saturday morning cartoon on steroids. At one point, the elevator stopped midair, and a giant talking cat wearing a top hat appeared. "Looking for answers or just lost your keys?" it asked with a Cheshire grin. I laughed and admitted a bit of both. Cat handed me a cosmic map made of shimmering ribbons and said, "Follow this to find your way, but beware of the flat donuts. They're a trap." With map in hand, I floated back into the elevator, which finally began a gentle descent. When the doors opened, I was back in my living room, though everything seemed subtly different. The plants were swaying rhythmically. Humming a tune, I swear, was a remix of the cosmic jazz. My cat, now definitely not the same one from before, gave me a knowing look and jumped onto my lap, purring a tune that matched the plants. I sat there for a while, letting the afterglow wash over me, still half expecting the donuts to pop back in for a late-night snack. The experience had been absurd, mind-bending, hilarious, and weirdly comforting. A reminder that sometimes the universe is best explored through the lens of a cosmic donut shop, a jazz soundtrack, and a spaceship elevator ride that defies all earthly logic. When I finally got up, I noticed a faint, sugary scent lingering in the air, and I smiled. Maybe some part of me was still bouncing on marshmallow trampolines, laughing with donuts who knew the secret recipe of existence.